So, Superman is happening, and it is important. Not just because it's a new superhero movie, but because it's the first movie in James Gunn and Peter Safran's resurrected DC universe, or DCU, which means they dropped the E as an extended universe like it was back in the day in Zack Snyder's era. This is something new. This is ground zero, the clean slate, the moment DC stops reacting and starts building. Now, that's a huge deal, especially after years of creative whiplash, canceled projects, and general we don't know what the hell we're doing energy from Warner Bros. This is Superman before you watch. If you're like a lot of fans, your brain is probably still wired to think of Henry Cavill when you hear Superman. And look, Cavill was a solid Superman. Say what you will about the writing or the tone of the Snyder era, but Cavill looked the part. He carried the mythic weight and delivered some of the most visually stunning Superman moments ever put to screen. Man of Steel deserves credits for daring to be different, for trying to reframe Superman in post-Dark Knight world. It was thoughtful, it was bold, and for many, it hit. For others, it was a little too heavy, too brooding, too distant from the happy-go-lucky, hopeful symbol that Superman has always been. However, this new movie doesn't erase that legacy, but it does pivot. And by pivot, I mean hard. Superman is directed by James Gunn, the guy behind Guardians of the Galaxy, this Suicide Squad, the good one, and Peacemaker. So right away, you might be expecting jokes, found families, needle drops, and quirky side characters. And yes, some of that DNA is absolutely in this movie. But don't think this is just Guardians of the Galaxy with a cape. Gunn's Superman is surprisingly earnest. It's sincere. It's hopeful in a way that feels kind of radical in 2025, when even Spider-Man is exhausted and depressed and MCU is wobbling on tired legs. David Corenswet takes over the cape from Cavill. If you're wondering who he is, he's not a massive star yet, but he's got that kind of face that makes you think, oh yeah, that's Superman. He's tall, he's got the jawline, he just looks like Superman. But most importantly, he nails the duality. You believe him as Clark Kent. He's clumsy, quiet, observant, and you believe him as Superman, who's powerful but never detached. He's not above humanity. No. Superman is a part of it. And that's a huge tonal shift. In Snyder's version, Superman was a figure people feared, misunderstood, even worshipped. He was like a god. In Gunn's, he's a guy who grew up in Smallville, who still remembers to call his mom, who still wants to do the right thing even when nobody else does. It's a Superman who smiles. Now that sounds minor, but it's not. This version wears his heart on his sleeve. And the trunks too. Yeah, red trunks are back, and somehow, I don't know, man, to me, I know there was a lot of controversy, but to me, they look okay. They look alright. And the cast surrounding Superman is also tight. Rachel Brosnahan, I hope I pronounced that right, is Lois Lane, and she's fantastic. She brings intelligence, wit, and a no BS attitude to the role that feels totally modern without losing that Lois Lane spark the originals had. Then you've also got Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Now this version of Lex is younger, leaner, and more emotionally volatile. He's not the smooth-talking CEO or a bald Bond villain. He's angry, almost insecure. He's like an angry teenager with a lot of money. Now this Lex resents Superman deeply, but it's not just a oh he's stronger than me thing, it's ideological. Lex sees Superman as a threat to human ambition, to control, and to the natural order. Now Holt plays it with cold precision, but also a twitchy edge that makes him feel like he could explode at any moment. And yeah, this world already has other heroes. That's one of the biggest surprises in this movie. The DCU isn't starting from zero, even though I said it's ground zero. It's more like year 2. Superman might be the moral center, but he's not the only costumed figure around. But don't worry, it's not a cameo fest. These characters aren't just there to wink at you and say, yeah, Buckaroo, see you in the next movie. No, they're parts of the story. Gunn is introducing them early, so this world feels lived in. It's a smart approach, and to me, it works. Now, with a lot of Zack Snyder fans, it doesn't. I don't know. They have been salty ever this movie came to be. Visually, the movie is colorful, which is already a massive shift from Man of Steel. It's got shadows and grit when it needs them, but it doesn't run from brightness. Metropolis feels alive. Not just a backdrop to blow up, but a real city with people that are worth saving. And the costume design leans into the comic book aesthetic, but it makes it feel functional. There's texture, detail, and just the right amount of stylization. And the trunks. I know. I'm just glad they're back. I mean, it's fun. It's funny to see Superman with trunks again. The action in this movie is also grounded but superpowered. Don't expect a Marvel Endgame endless CGI skybeam. That's not this movie, from at least what I've heard. When Superman throws a punch, you feel it, but you also see the consequences. This movie is careful to not fall into the trap of over-escalation. It's not trying to out-Marvel Marvel, it's trying to be Superman, and that means restraint. It's meant choosing to save lives even when it's harder than punching something. But if there's a weak spot in this movie, it might be the balancing act. There's a lot of setup, and you can feel the gears of a bigger universe turning. You get the sense that Gunn is planting seeds for characters, and those moments could either intrigue you or make you roll your eyes depending on how burned out you are on the cinematic universes. But crucially, this movie stands on its own. You don't need to have seen 12 other DC movies. You don't need to know who Metamorpho is. This movie is Superman, and Gunn never loses sight of that. He centers the story on why Superman matters in fiction, and maybe even a little bit in real life. Because we live in a time of non-stop bad news, of cynicism, of media that loves to tear down more than it builds up. And here comes this movie saying, what if someone good existed? Not perfect, not naive, just good. It's cheesy, it's old-fashioned, and maybe that's what makes it feel so new again. And in this day and age, I think we needed a movie like Superman. We needed something hopeful. So, here's a big question. Should you go ahead and see this movie when it comes out? If you're a fan of Superman, I mean, absolutely, because it embraces what made Superman iconic in the first place. If you're tired of superhero movies, then this movie might surprise you with its sincerity. If you're a Snyder loyalist, you might miss the weight and grandeur of Man of Steel, but you'll still find pieces of that DNA here, just filtered through a more hopeful lens. It's not dark or gritty, but it's still trying to tell Superman's story. This isn't the Superman of your childhood. Don't expect this to be Zack Snyder all over again, and don't expect this to be Christopher Reeve. This movie is something else, a new take on Superman, something new that also manages to feel familiar in all the right ways. No multiverse, no crisis, no homework to do to link the movies together to find out what the fuck is going on. Just a guy in a cape trying to do the right thing. And sometimes, to a lot of people, that's enough.